Fact of the day: 1,479 new confirmations yesterday. You've probably seen a special report that was done by TVC News. It's circulating all over WhatsApp by now, where they showed us what the situation is like in one of the isolation centers right here in Lagos. I'm talking about IDH Yaba. If you haven't seen that video yet, it will definitely circulate around and come to you. I watched it. I looked on as Nigerians struggled to breathe in the isolation center at IDH Yaba. I looked at the canister after canister after canister of oxygen that had been run through by Nigerians who need them to stay alive. So Biko, take all the precautions that you can. Limit your movement outside. One of the men who they interviewed, who could barely breathe during the interview, was saying that he wished that they had banned all outdoor events because he wouldn't have gone to the wedding that he went to where he thinks he contracted the virus. So please give gap to people. Wear masks as much as possible. Wash and sanitize your hands. It's not a conspiracy. It's killing real people. It has killed Babi Jebu's wife. It has killed the deputy governor's younger brother. I keep pointing out some of these famous people that it has killed, not to imply that their deaths are more important, but just to answer those people who say, how come we don't know the people it is killing? Because for people like that, it seems like Abba Kyari is not enough. It seems like Kashamu was not enough. It feels like a lot of the big politician names they've heard is not enough to convince them that this thing is here and this thing is killing people. So please, 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 please stay safe. Look around you. Talk to people that you know. Lots of people know somebody who has tested positive or who is sick or who is in the hospital or who even died. If you wear your mask, you're not going to lose anything. Limiting your movements is not a death sentence. Washing and sanitizing your hands regularly, it does not pain. All these things are basic hygiene practices. So even if you don't believe, at least you can do these things now. But you see, these small things may be what keep you and the people that you love alive. And to be on the safe side, stick with me on Hard Facts. I'm here to bring you the most important topics of the day. I break them down, I give you the facts, I give you the context so that you can form an informed opinion. Today is Friday. We're letting Nigeria rest. Instead, we'll start with the big three, Global Edition. Let's talk about Donald Trump getting impeached for a second time. Then let's talk about the Ugandan presidential elections. And then let's talk about Twitter suspending Donald Trump's account. After that, as usual for Friday, we're going to bring you Public Square with Agogo Obo. And then we're going to wrap up with music and moments. Of course, there's news updates coming your way at the top of every hour. But let's get started with today's Big Three Global Edition.
The Big Three Global Edition on Hard Facts.
Did Trump deserve his second impeachment? Will Museveni, after 35 years as president, get 5 more years? Should Twitter have suspended Trump? This is the Big Three Global Edition. Let's get into the stories. As you know, on Fridays, we try to let Nigeria rest and we look at the biggest stories in the entire world. You can watch on Facebook and YouTube on Nigeria Info 99.3. Now, sometimes the big stories are still Nigerian stories, or they also affect Nigeria. Joining me to take a look at all of our big three stories is Chief Andy Oboforibo. Welcome back to Hard Facts, Chief. 2 of your countries are in the stories today, and they're misbehaving.
Dragon, Sandra.
Let's start with Uganda, right? So Uganda is where the presidential elections are going on. Yoweri Museveni is going for his 6th 5-year term under the banner of NRM. He has served 5 already. If you add his first 10 years as revolutionary leader, he's been president for 35 years. His main opponent is a 38-year-old member of parliament from the NUP. He was 4 years old when Museveni took power. His name is Robert Chuguyani, but the world knows him as Bobby Wine from his reggae music career. Now, there's been a lot of drama during this campaign, Chief. Bobby Wine was arrested multiple times while trying to get his nomination form, while trying to hold rallies. We hear the internet was shut off all across Uganda right before the vote. Internet is still shut off in Uganda. We've just heard that Bobby Wine has declared himself the winner of the elections as well, even though the media is reporting that Museveni has an early lead. So lots of drama, lots of drama. Why are all your countries having wahala, Chief?
Sandra, now, wow. I don't know. Are you saying that I'm the Jonah?
I don't know. Are you the Jonah, Chief? Are you the Jonah? Now, lots of analysts are saying that Bobby Wine has no chance of actually defeating Museveni. Do you agree? And if you agree, if he really has no chance, why has he faced so much resistance from the state?
Well, it's a good question. And I'm inclined to believe that Bobby Wine winning this election was going to be an uphill task either way. Like it would have been very difficult to defeat Museveni. Museveni is still very popular, especially in rural Uganda. And then, the NRM, Museveni's party, for the longest time, the NRM was almost essentially a one-party. Uganda was almost a one-party state, and almost everybody was an NRM member. And the NRM still has very strong loyalties, roots, and structures in the rural areas. What we've seen over the last few elections since 1996, every 5 years, NRM loses the elections in Kampala a lot of the time. Like, they get defeated heavily. The opposition tends to win in Kampala, in the city, but in the rural areas, NRM tends to win, both through popularity and also through control of the security agencies, the army and the police and all of that. So there's rigging and there's also fair elections going on. So the question you ask, why, if Museveni knows he has this kind of an advantage, why is he cracking down so hard on Bobby Wine? It seems to be a situation where Museveni doesn't want even the idea of opposition. The idea that anybody could, rise up and have a party that can even claim 30% of the vote or 40% of the vote, the idea is unheard of, especially as Museveni prepares to hand over, either in his lifetime or immediately after his lifetime ends. He has something of a short list of successors, including his wife and his son, who is the head of the army. And the idea that an organized opposition could still be there right at the tail end of Museveni's rule, I don't think he wants to tolerate that at all.
And that's why he's been very, very heavy-handed. Now, Museveni has been in power for almost 40 years, since 1986. How has he been able to keep power?
Yeah, I noticed you said earlier on that he's been there since Bobby Wine was 4.
Yeah.
It's funny because I went to secondary school in Uganda. I went to secondary school at the same time Bobby Wine was in secondary school. He's 3 years below me. And so, for them, people like them, Museveni has been their head of state their whole life. And part of the reason was initial gratitude. We in Nigeria now we watch the rise and fall of Idi Amin, Obote man. So Ugandans came from a terrible turmoil, and Museveni brought stability. So a lot of older Ugandans basically feel like, you know what, if Museveni goes, what if all that old stuff comes back? So that has been a governing principle for them. Even those that are not really fond of him, will say, well, better Museveni than what came before.
So like the devil we know, huh?
That's right. That's exactly
My
right.
God.
And especially
Is it the same thing with Nigerians and their love affair with the military regime? Today, by the way, is Armed Forces Remembrance Day, and you have some Nigerians who say things like military regime was better, at least things were orderly, they were not stealing money.
Well, I think it would be essentially, I don't think military rule was close to what Uganda has had under Museveni. Military rule in Nigeria has been far worse than what Museveni has provided. What you see here with Museveni, I equate it closer to what you had in Egypt with Mubarak. So he has managed a steady ship. He has kept things stable, but at the cost of human rights. Now, the military in Nigeria, they took away our human rights, but they also didn't manage anything. They ran the economy into the ground. They took our everything from us. But at least Museveni has been able to provide some sort of economic growth and stability. And that's why a lot of the older generation are willing to tolerate it.
So
But
what?
the younger people say,
What's
no,
the?
we want to make decisions for ourselves.
So what's the love for military that older Nigerians have here? What's the reason for the love? If you're saying that they stole the money, they stole the human rights, what's the? Where is the affection coming from?
Well, some people will say it's because Nigerians just like to be flogged. I think there's something about the way we are engineered. I was listening to your show yesterday when you were talking about abuse of young boys in boarding schools. You see a lot of abuse and torture and punishment and hardship and harshness in Nigerian society as part of this is how society runs. So it happens in the schools, it happens in the homes, and so Nigerians have a dysfunctional view of power. They assume that an effective leader must be a harsh leader. So it's just conditioning.
Okay.
But once Nigerians live outside for a while, they become horrified by all this.
Lagos, join the conversation. Why don't you? What do you think about the treatment Bobby Wine and the NUP has received leading up to this election? What do you think the outcome is going to be? 0700-993-993-993. You've heard, of course, that they had to shut off their internet. The government ordered an internet lockdown for this election to happen. The number to call, 0700-993-993-993. You can tweet at us at Nigeria Info FM, and you can definitely share your thoughts via WhatsApp. WhatsApp is 080-959-75805. Remember, new year, new hard facts. So that means that you get 2 minutes on Global Review. Any other segment, it's 1 minute, 30 seconds. Glass Ceiling and Global Review, 2 minutes, so that you can get your thoughts out. Samuel is in Ikeja. Hello, Samuel.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Maybe let me correct the last caller. Sincerely, what's happened in Uganda, it's still just, a kind of systemic flaws, in which the whole of African settings are being characterized with. Okay, like all these sit tight or die hard, mentality that we have had in time past. In other words, there is no ground to which somebody could have been ruling for the past 5 years.
Hello? Oh, I'm sorry. Call back if you can, okay? 0700-993-993-993. What do you think about the treatment that Bobby Wine and the NUP received leading up to this election? What do you think the outcome of this entire process will be? I'm currently watching on my screen, and voters are watching ballot count very keenly in this very keenly contested election. Uche is in Ikeja. Hello, Uche. Thank you for calling us.
Yeah, hello, Sandra.
Welcome. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, my sister.
Good afternoon.
The politics in Uganda, the elections have been conducted, and I think they're still counting, right?
Yes, they're still counting, yes.
They're still counting. Now, Bobby Wine has come out to declare himself the winner, even while counting is ongoing. And from what we are gathering, Museveni is in the lead, 60% of the votes cast. Now, you see, Sandra, there's a problem with the black man.
Okay.
There's a problem with Africa. I don't want to believe that the people of Uganda still want to vote a man in his 80s, a man who has obviously put the country down over the years. We see pictures of what, happens in Uganda every other day. The people are suffering. There's poverty. And I don't want to believe that the people of Uganda will cast their vote for a man who has subjected them to so much poverty over the years. And then the question you ask yourself is, A man in his 80s, what else is he doing in position of power? What else does he want? You've tried for several years. You haven't made the positive change. What else do you want to do? If not to, perpetuate yourself in office for selfish interests. It's a shame. It's a big shame. And, well, for me, the question again is, which is a big if Bobby Wine gets to become the president, 5-10 years down the line, will there be positive change? We've seen that in other parts of Africa. Remember Laurent Gbagbo? Remember some other leaders in Africa?
Remember George Weah?
George Weah, my sister. So many of them, initially they come out to look like saints. Once they get there, something happens. Sandra, I think what we should discuss, maybe on one of these days, a topic that we can discuss is, what is it about power in Africa that tend to change the human being?
Well, I'm about to talk to you about power in America with President Trump. Boduche, thank you so much for calling me. When you look at President Trump, you start to wonder, is it an African thing really? But let's take another call and stay on our first stories a little more. Hello, thanks for calling us.
Yes, Sandra, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What's your name?
My name is Kelvin, reaching from Sule.
Welcome, Kelvin. What do you think about the treatment Bobby Wine and the NUP received leading up to the election?
Well, it's most unfortunate, and I applaud the young man for taking that bold step to challenge these long-sitting presidents who have refused to leave power. And as I've insisted also, this is not about being an African. I keep saying this. It has to do with the individual. We have had fantastic African leaders who did not sit tight, no matter the role they played in getting independence of their country. We have seen white men. There's a man in Belarus now that is still seated tight there for 20-something years.
That's right.
Is that an African man?
That's right.
Not an African man. It has nothing to do. The former FIFA president refused to leave office until he was charged for corruption. He's a white man. So it has to do with the individual. But my worry now is the people of Uganda, did they speak with one voice, or they allowed this man to intimidate them? Because I know there was a certain doctor, I forgot that man's name, who used to challenge Museveni before. He struck it death to that man. I don't know whether that man has called from Uganda or something. I forgot that man's name. That was the man that was challenging him earlier on. So if the people really wanted change, he cannot rig everybody out in Uganda now. So that's my worry. But what can we say? The young man has, done his best. I applaud him for the courage for even coming out to challenge this man. I believe in very few time to come, few years to come, things will change. He won't remain there forever. Things will change.
Thank you for calling us. We really appreciate it. Lagos, if you just tuned into the show, you're listening to Hard Facts on 99.3 Nigeria Info every Friday from 3 to 4. We let Nigeria rest and we take a look at big stories from other parts of the world. And for our first story, we start with Uganda. They held their presidential elections yesterday. Yoweri Museveni is going for his sixth term. 5-year term is what they run there. And this is the sixth one he's going for under the banner of the NRM. He has served 5 already. If you add his first 10 years when he was a revolutionary leader, he has been president for 35 years. 35 years. His main opponent, is a 38-year-old member of parliament. He was 4 years old when Museveni took power. His name is Robert Chiagudi, and you probably know him as Bobby Wine when he was a reggae music crooner. Now, during his campaign, there was so much drama, right? He was arrested multiple times when he was trying to hold rallies. He was shot at multiple times. They've tried to kill him multiple times. They've killed a number of his supporters. They've harassed his wife. They've stripped her naked. They've debased people that he cares about. They've shut down the internet for this election. And still, we have Museveni leading while the results of those votes are coming in. Now, Chief Andy Oboforibo is in the studio with me. Well, he's on the phone with me. And he says that the reason Museveni has been in power for so long is because Uganda has faced a long list of terrible leaders that Museveni, who came and saved them, continues to be in the sight of a lot of Ugandans a savior, and they refuse to see him as anything other than a savior, and so it's difficult to convince Ugandans to try anything new, especially because they do not want to try something new that could end up as one of those leaders that they had. Now, Chief Oboforibo, do you think this is a situation that can change? Do you think Ugandans could get to a point where they say, you know what, let's try something new? Do you think that that's going to happen? Because you lived with these people. You know, perhaps, maybe, know how they think, perhaps. What do you think?
I think we're seeing with NUP and the rise of Bobby Wine, we are seeing that Ugandans are increasingly saying we're ready to try something new. Now, that does not mean Bobby Wine will win, nor does that mean that Bobby Wine is necessarily going to be a better president than Museveni or a worse one. But it's just about Ugandans saying, no, let's try something different. And I think that's also why Museveni is so hell-bent on crushing this particular opposition. So before now, one of your callers talked about a previous opposition leader. He was talking about Dr. Kiza Bwesige.
That's right.
Now, Bwesige contested against Museveni multiple times. But for a lot of Ugandans, Bwesige was just another Museveni because they were in the same revolution together. They took power together. So this was just basically one of his people now trying to fight him. Now them. So he didn't have as much popular support. Then you also had other opposition leaders like Semo Gerere, Muntu Mugisha, Cecilia Ogwal. But a lot of them, Ugandans saw them as the cronies of the past leaders that they didn't want anymore, of Idi Amin, or Obote, and all of them. So now Bobby Wine is a new type of opposition leader. He doesn't belong to the old guard, nor does he belong to the NRM, Museveni's people who took power with him. So this is, and he's from a new generation. I mean, he was 4 years old when these people came to power. So now you are seeing this younger generation, a lot of them. You're seeing lots of 30-year-old people winning parliamentary seats yesterday in Uganda. So you're seeing a whole bunch of young people who don't know about the NRM, they don't know about Idi Amin, they don't know about Obote. All they care about is, hey, we've never had our own chance. So that makes things a bit easier, especially because, well, Museveni is almost 80 and he's thinking about handover. Remember what happened to Mugabe in Zimbabwe at around this same time.
And the young people in Uganda are similar to the young people in Nigeria who did not experience military rule and so do not share the fear of authority that older Nigerians have. Would you agree?
That's right. I agree completely. So when I lived in Uganda, I saw Museveni's first 2 election campaigns. And his key campaign point, in fact, you know how we see campaigns where they chant change, and all of that. Museveni's campaign slogan is no change. That's actually his campaign slogan. And then in his campaign speeches, he keeps on going to, when Amin was here, you could not go outside. When Obote was here, you could not speak, they will kill you. And that triggered a lot of the Ugandans who had lived through those traumatic experiences. So they're like, no, we can't take that risk. But these young people, they don't know or care. Idi Amin is just somebody in a movie to these people.
Lagos, we'll take one final call and then we'll move on to another strong man, this time in a former British colony, the United States of America. I'm Sandra Ezekwesili. You're listening to Hard Facts on 99.3 Nigeria Info. James is on the line. James is in his solo today. Hello, James. Sorry about that, James. All right, let's take that final call. Hello.
Hello.
What's your name, sir?
Oh, yeah, my name is Ruben from Yaba.
Ruben, welcome. You've got 2 minutes.
Yeah, I'm hoping that Bobby Wine gets at least 40%. I don't think he's going to win. He's been wonderful. He's been a wonderful. What I actually have issues with, why can't Nigeria come out and speak against this injustice by the president, by the country's president? Why is Nigeria not keeping? We call ourselves the giants of Africa, and we could not take steps to sanction this country. We are just keeping quiet. I guess maybe because we are also not different from them, because our own elections was a sham. I guess that's why they are just keeping quiet. And I would like to ask him, Dr. Andy Ofofrebo. Hello, are you there?
Yes,
I'm here.
Yeah, I would like to ask him, Is it right for Bobby Wine to declare himself president when the whole thing is not even concluded? Is it right? Because remember, Abiola did the same thing, and he got himself into trouble. Is it right? I don't want him to die. I feel like he still have a chance again. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you for calling, Ruben Chief.
Well, I think what we're seeing with Bobby Wine here is what we've seen with maybe even Donald Trump. You are seeing him declaring a result, but in this particular case, he's not presenting his evidence for why he believes he can declare himself the winner of the election. We're seeing results coming in, and the results are showing Museveni ahead. But of course, Bobby Wine is saying that these results are fraudulent. So it remains for him to present his evidence as to why he can call himself the winner of the election.
Now let's move on to the House of Reps in the United States impeaching President Donald Trump for the second time. On the 13th of January, Congress voted to impeach Trump for inciting an insurrection. That was the charge on the article of impeachment. So they're talking about the crowd that stormed Capitol Hill while Congress was in session and violently tried to stop them from certifying the election results. Now, there's a lot of firsts and a lot of mosts here. Trump is the first American president to be impeached twice. That also makes him the most impeached president in American history. 10 congresspeople from Trump's own Republican Party voted to impeach him, and that's the highest number of pro-impeachment votes from a president's own party in American history. And so this is the most bipartisan impeachment ever. And of course, with only 7 days left in Trump's term at the time of the vote, it is the closest impeachment to the end of a president's term. I wish I was still doing just a minute. I would have asked a lot of questions from this particular thing that I just listed for you. But Chief Aboforibo, explain the charges of this impeachment. What was Congress alleging?
Right, so Congress is basically saying that crowd that stormed Capitol Hill actually committed insurrection. And insurrection is, in American law, it's a crime against the state. It's an attempt to topple the constituted authority. And now, and both sides of the aisle seem to agree that was an insurrectionary act because they were trying to stop the certification of the election. Now, the question is, why did they do that? And the article of impeachment is claiming that Trump incited them to do it. That Trump is the one who provoked them to do it in his speeches. And they're claiming that in his speeches, he said things that reasonably should be expected to lead to people storming the Capitol Hill. And so that's what they're counting as him inciting an insurrection.
The impeachment passed, but there was a lot of opposition to it from Republican Congress people. They agreed that there was an insurrection, but they were saying that the case wasn't made, that the president actually incited the insurrection. Do you think the sponsors of the impeachment presented... well, it's not about whether you think or not, it's whether they did or not. So did they present any evidence indicting the president?
Well, they presented his phone call to the Secretary of State of Georgia, where he asked the Secretary of State of Georgia to change the election results in the state. So they presented that as evidence that Trump is willing to rig the election. Then they presented his speeches to the crowd at Washington, D.C. on that day. And they presented that as evidence that he said things that reasonably would be expected to incite. What did not happen was a debate about those contents. So the argument can be made that even if the evidence was presented, the evidence was not adequately debated before it went to a vote.
So the next step the next step is now trial in the Senate, right? Trump has 5 more days in office. The Senate will not reconvene until after he leaves office. Those who are pushing this impeachment, I mean, what do they hope to achieve if he cannot be tried until after his presidency? Yeah.
So the first of all, they want to set a precedent that even if a president's term ends, he can still be tried for what he did in his term. And it's there, the Constitution allows for it. So what we're seeing and hearing is they are trying to push for him to be convicted after the fact. And then even though that he cannot be removed from office, once a president is convicted by the Senate by 2/3 of the vote, automatically there is a second vote triggered whether or not he should be banned from holding any office in the future. And that vote is a straight-up majority vote. 51 votes can carry it. So the idea is that they may be pushing to basically ban Trump from running for office for the rest of his natural life.
Lagos, let's hear from you. What do you think about Trump's impeachment? 0700-993-993-993. 0700-993-993-993. You can also send your thoughts to us via WhatsApp. WhatsApp is 080-959-75805. 080-959-75805. We've got Folaring on the line. Hello, Folaring in Ikorodu, I'm guessing. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Sandra Ezekwesili.
Good afternoon. You've got 2 minutes.
Good afternoon to the guest analyst in the house. My name is Ugandan Folaring. Sandra, I think there's a problem with some people. Immediately they gain power, they want to die there. They want to sleep there. It's not an African thing. We've seen it in Belarus. We've seen it in FIFA, Mr. Platini. But in this Uganda case, I don't want to believe that the people are still enjoying the reign of power. As the analysts have said, in Kampala, the main city, they are not voting for him. So I think they are enlightened, unlike the rural people. They are not enlightened, so they are afraid of the fear of the unknown. So that's why they are still voting for him. You've seen it happen in Zimbabwe, and it's still happening in Cameroon. It's not that they are happy. So how can some president, for how many years, be leading the army? The wife is a minister. So I don't think all these people are happy. They want to be liberated. Thank you, Sandra.
All right, Folaring, thank you for calling. 99.3, hello. Thanks for calling us. Sorry about that. Call back if you can. Okay, so who's our next call there? Okay, I don't think anyone's there just yet. 0700-993-993-993. Are you there? Oh, sorry about that. Call back if you can then. We've got Chooks from Aja who says the election turnout in Uganda is very unfortunate to the growing number of the young population in Uganda. And sadly, the reason for such an unreasonable turnout can only point to one thing: hunger and poverty. This is a big problem that should be addressed strategically for the future to land successfully in Africa. Chooks from Aja, thank you for sending your message in. Sandra, do you remember I told you the House can impeach Donald Trump in just one day to go? Afolabi from Agege is asking. When elections are free and fair, the leaders will respect the people and give them good governance, for the fear that if they do not perform to the satisfaction of the people, they will be voted out. But when you rig election to favor a candidate, you create a dictator that will also oppress your generations. Uganda decides 2021, Africa must be free from all dictators. John Zeno from Lekki sent that message in. Let's see other messages we have here. Ranters of Buhari bad government on radio should depict Bobby Wine by contesting 2023 rather than seeing bad leadership as black man syndrome. But Bobby Wine declaring himself winner of Ugandan elections while votes are counting, is this not violation of the rules of the game? Comrade Akban Silas in Magudo Estate is asking. All right, Comrade Akban, thank you for sending your message in. We've got more people who are sending us messages. There's no way you can compare the leadership system in Europe and America with the demonic government system in Africa. Be it Belarus, be it Russia, or most recently what Donald Trump attempted in America, these countries enjoy massive infrastructural benefits. What do we have in African countries? Lawrence in Ikorodu is asking that question. Let's talk to Benedict in Ajao Estate. Hello, Benedict.
Yes. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thanks for calling. Go ahead.
I want to make my own contribution.
Yes, please. Go ahead.
What is going on in Uganda? I believe the Uganda are voting for the a very present president because of fear. Not that they are enjoy what is happening. Someone have been in power for 35 years. There is a time for that man now to go and rest. But anyway, this is Africa. Everything is possible. God will help us. I want to comment about
Donald Trump's
Trump.
impeachment. Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump, United States.
Mm-hmm.
Trump have lost the election, and we have few days to go for Trump to go, and they are still pushing for impeachment. So for me, I'm saying that something fishy there.
They've already impeached him.
If the Democrats are not afraid of Trump, that Trump will bounce back, they could allow him to pack his baggage by next week or whatever and go to his house.
But how do you bounce back from inciting an insurrection?
This is just a cuckoo story, but because there is no court or law that approve that.
What's a cuckoo story? He didn't incite an insurrection?
Yeah, even the opposition, they did the same thing during Black Lives Matters. Most of the Republican leaders, they support the protest. You all seen it.
Okay.
You understand?
I understand.
And he just make a comment. Yes? So they have not proved it yet. If they will prove, let them go to court. Let the Supreme Court pronounce that what Trump says is wrong or punishable for so thing, then they can take it from there.
All right.
But they are just 5 days to go. They are pushing for impeachment. I believe they are afraid of that man. That is what they fish there.
I see. Thank you, Benedict, for calling us. Chief Obaforibo, is it fear? Is that what this is?
Well, it could be. There could be an element of the Democrats wanting to make sure that Trump cannot run again later on. However, I should point out, like you said, this is the most bipartisan impeachment in history. Even his own party, some of their members have crossed. We've seen in the last impeachment, Mitch McConnell, the Senate Majority Leader, said it's going to be a partisan vote. The Republican Party will not vote to convict him in the Senate. But this time around, McConnell is saying he's open to it because he believes that Trump crossed the line. And that's Mitch McConnell. I mean, the Republican. So is it political? I leave that to you.
Let's take a few more calls. You're listening to Hard Facts on 99.3 Nigeria Info. WhatsApp is 080-959-75805. From the way Bobby Wine was being treated and the internet shut down, I don't think he has a chance to win. Uganda needs a change. A man that has the mentality of this current generation, and not a man who will devote a lot of his time fighting enemies because he wants to rule forever. Chief Udo says. Chief Udo, thanks for calling. Thanks for sending a message in. Charles is in Lekki. Hello, Charles.
Yeah, fine, thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Welcome. Go ahead.
Yeah, on Uganda, you remember that there was age limit to the presidency of Uganda, but the man changed it using the parliament. And one of the factors, which I believe, I may be wrong, is that Uganda just found oil. So the man has been there for 30-something years, no money, no oil, but oil just showed up. So the man is just looking at, well, I cannot go when we just discovered oil, which is one of the factor resources. Unfortunately, that's the situation in Africa. As far as the U.S. is concerned, I think Donald Trump deserves it. He's not the kind of person that should become American leader again. Otherwise, there will be civil war in America. If that guy had another 4 years, there will be civil war, black against white. He's already forming. You see militants from the black, you see militants from the white supremacists. Definitely, there will be war if that guy became president again. And that's why I think both the Republicans and the Democrats are avoiding. They are trying to prevent him coming back, which is good for America. And I think the entire world. Thank you.
Charles, thank you so much for calling us. Ugo from Abulegba says, your analyst just quoted this, that Donald Trump called the Secretary of Georgia to change the election result. The above statement is false. He called him to find the perceived voter fraud he alleged to have happened in the election. If they say Trump's speeches incited violence, what of Pelosi's speeches? Secondly, this impeachment is a violation of the First Amendment. And if you say he incited an insurrection, then you can say NSAS protesters are the ones that incited the violence of the looters. These Democrats have incited violence throughout the Black Lives Matter violence. And if anyone has the right to decide whether his speeches are inciting, it's the Supreme Court, not politicians who are biased. What do you say to that, Chief Obufurbo?
Well, I'll point out that the Constitution gives the Congress the right to try the president. So anytime we say the Supreme Court is the one with the right, we're actually not listening to the American Constitution, which lays this out. Now, I was saying what Congress alleged. Congress alleged that the president asked the Secretary of State of Georgia to change the vote. And finally, on the final point of incitement and whether the Democrats did it too, I guess the question should be, if the Democrats did it too, has anybody stopped the authorities from also prosecuting the Democrats?
Zimvest is bringing you our third story on Big Three Global. Zimvest is an asset management company licensed by the SEC that provides you with various investment products. Their savings and investment products are available in Naira and US dollar, and they offer best in market rates. If you'd like more information, visit www.zimvest.com.ng. www.zimvest.com.ng to get started, or you can email ask@zimvest.com.ng. ask@zimvest.com.ng. You can talk to their private wealth managers as well. The number to call their private wealth managers is 07000 200 220. That's 07000 200 220. Did you get that down? 07000 200 220. You can also call 01 280 1042. 01 280 1042. Call these two numbers. They'll put you in touch with a wealth manager who can help you determine where to put your money as far as investment is concerned. They're bringing you our final story on today's Big Three Global, and let's listen to a message from our sponsors.
Need to save for a new car, house rent, or your next vacation? Or be financially ready to get yourself a COVID vaccine next year? Let Zimvest Aspire keep you in check. Need low-risk investment option with attractive rates? Zimvest High Yields is your best bet. Zcrest Investment Managers. Zimvest is a SEC-licensed asset management company. At Zimvest, professional asset managers with industry expertise dedicate time into preserving your wealth. Zimvest has a web platform that enables you invest in a range of investment products that offers you good returns. Visit www.zimvest.com.ng to get started. Zimvest, demystifying wealth from creation to distribution for all.
Our third story is a business that suspended the president of America, Twitter. Donald Trump has had a very eventful week. Congress impeached him. Twitter suspended him. And that's our third story. Twitter permanently suspended Mr. Trump's personal account. The official president's account is still up. Twitter said that they took this decision because Trump violated their terms and conditions. And he also because they have concerns regarding ongoing plans for violence during the transition. Now, when that happened, Twitter's stock fell 6.4% immediately after they made the announcement. Analysts believe that this was because markets are concerned that some sections of the public, as well as public figures, may start to leave the platform. Now, Chief, this one action by Twitter has caused quite the debate. There's been a lot of backlash against Twitter, and there's also been a lot of support for what Twitter did. Did Twitter have a right to suspend the President of the United States?
Well, it's an interesting question. Twitter seems to think so. So Twitter has said that, uh, they've always had the same rule about suspension, that everybody who comes on the platform agrees to the terms and conditions. And terms and conditions spell out what you can and cannot do or say on the platform, and gives Twitter the right to suspend you or block your account if you violate those terms and conditions. What Twitter has been saying for months is that Trump has been violating their terms and conditions almost throughout his presidency, and that the only reason why they had not suspended him before now is because he happened to be president of the United States. So what the Twitter has been saying is that if it were you, Sandra Ezekwesili, maybe not you, you're also a president, but if it were me saying the things on Twitter that Trump was saying, has been saying, they would have suspended me since like 2017 or 2018. But they've been onlooking it because it's the president. But now they felt it had gone too far and they were going to suspend him, especially because they felt that the things he was tweeting were affecting ongoing crimes being investigated, like, with the insurrection matter. So in that, when you look at it that way, it seems that Twitter, in principle, has a case to suspend Trump. The question becomes, did he actually violate those terms and conditions?
It's quite the thing. We've got Jack Dorsey now insisting that they did the right thing. He's the founder of Twitter. But he also admits that it raises concerns about the power that these social media apps wield over public conversation. Do you think there's a way to prevent abuse of that power without handing that power over to the government?
That's the big question. Because, for a lot of people, because you already start to hear governments all over the world, once they start to hear people are not happy with social media, they say, yes, haven't we been telling you we should regulate them, allow us to regulate them? But there's another way, there are other ways. So, for instance, if I can speak about myself, I am on a consultative forum with one of the social media platforms. They've not paid for advertising on your air, so I won't call their name. So, but it's one of the ones that is on everybody's phone. So I'm on their consultative forum for West Africa, where we sit down and advise them on public policy, privacy policy, and all of that. So we're already seeing a scenario where citizens-based groups are stepping up to say the power that the social media platforms as a group hold over public conversation with the public, with the citizens, want to have the right to sit down with them and determine how they use that power to make sure they're using it in a way that is fair to us without bringing in government to regulate them because we don't trust government.
Okay. Now, Lagos, I want you to join this conversation. Do you agree or disagree with Twitter's decision to suspend Donald Trump? We'll take a quick break, listen to our sponsors, because like I've been saying, Zimvest brought you this particular story. Zimvest is an asset management company. I'll tell you some more about Zimvest after this break.
Need to save for a new car, house rent, or your next vacation? Or be financially ready to get yourself a COVID vaccine next year? Let Zimvest Aspire keep you in check. Need low-risk investment option with attractive rates? Zimvest High Yields is your best bet. Zcrest Investment Managers. Zimvest is a SEC-licensed asset management company. At Zimvest, professional asset managers with industry expertise dedicate time into preserving your wealth. Zimvest has a web platform that enables you invest in a range of investment products that offers you good returns. Visit www.zimvest.com.ng to get started. Zimvest, demystifying wealth from creation to distribution for all.
Lagos, the number to call is 0700-993-993-993. Do you agree or disagree with Twitter's decision to suspend Donald Trump? Now, like I told you, Twitter's stock took a bit of a dive immediately after. That type of thing happens all the time. Global markets respond to news all the time, but you don't always know how they're going to respond to news. And that's where people like Zimvest come in, right? Because they are an asset manager. They have professionals whose job it is to study the market, to make decisions to protect your investment. And just like you heard in their message, you can do things from what's it called now, saving for a new car or a new house or a wedding, to investing in bigger things. And you can invest in dollars as well, right? They are licensed to do this by the Securities and Exchange Commission, and they look at your specific needs. They pick the investment products suited for you, and then they help you invest. They help you make decisions that protect your money. And you can invest in both Naira and in dollars. And they offer the best in market rates. If you need more information, visit zimvest.com.ng or send an email to ask@zimvest.com.ng or call their private wealth managers on 07000 200 220. 07000 200 220. We're all looking for ways to make our money grow. We're all looking for ways to double our investments and things like that. So how about you do it with professionals who actually know what to do with your money? You can also call 01-280-1042. Prince Will is in Lekki. Hello, Prince Will. Thanks for calling us.
Hello, Sandra. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Do you think Twitter did the right thing with Donald Trump?
In very clear words, what they did was arrant nonsense.
Okay.
Total nonsense and abuse of power. Hypocrisy of the highest order.
Okay.
Let me give you an example. Till date, the Iranian president still threatens the existence of Israel as a country. What have they done? There's a fake picture that has been circulating on Twitter about an Australian soldier, molesting a kid or an Iraqi kid, which is a fake picture. Till date, Twitter has done nothing. It's basically just hypocrisy. Do you understand? I understand the carelessness of Trump as a person, but I also still see the honesty and desire in him, especially for his country people. I understand that he's not a good talker, but then you don't do that. That is totally wrong. It's totally, totally wrong, and it's just an abuse of power. That's just my own personal view. There's a lot of things that I would have said, but I don't just want to say.
Okay.
A lot of things I would have said, but I just don't want to say. But the truth is this, that's really, really wrong, and they are going to actually regret it. A lot of them are going to regret it if they don't take time. If they don't take time, they'll regret it. Thank you.
Thank you very much for calling us. 99.3.
Yeah, hello, Sandra.
Thanks for calling. What's your name?
Yeah, Sandra, I'm calling back. My name is Uche.
Welcome,
I'm
Uche.
calling from Ikeja.
Oh, great. Go ahead.
Yeah, Sandra, let me quickly see how far I can match the two stories, since they are both related.
Okay.
Trump's impeachment and then the action from Twitter. Sandra, like I told you some time ago, America is a great country, and America will remain a great country. As a matter of fact, America has already proven to us that they are a great country.
Okay.
Why is that? Look, America made a mistake in 2016 with this man called Trump. 4 years after, they realized their mistake and said, no, we can't go that route again. We need to change something here. This man is not the man for the job. And they did. Unlike what obtains here, we made a mistake in 2015. We repeated the same mistake in 2019. Today, here we are, trying to hang on to life until 2023. So for me, the impeachment is well-timed, even though he may not leave office because he has just a few days, but a statement has been made. Just like one of your last callers said, what they have done is to ensure that even in the near future, this man has no moral or legal justification to the highest office in the land again. And that's quite instructive. Now, coming to what Twitter has done, if you ask my opinion, I think that Twitter has done the right thing because, look, American president is not just any other person in the world, though. You may call one president from Yugoslavia, one president from wherever. American president is a symbol of the world. Whether we like it or not, that's the status of America as we speak. So if a man who is that powerful is using a social media platform to incite and instigate people into violent conduct that may affect the foundation of democracy in that country, I think it's the right thing that Twitter did and other social platforms. So for me, I think it's well justified Thank you, Sandra.
Thank you, Uche, for calling, and thank you to Chief Andy Oboverbo for your time. It's always a pleasure to talk to you on the show. I felt we needed to bring you in because the three countries in the news, well, Nigeria is not in the news, but the two countries in the news are your countries. So you needed to come and explain what is going on.
You Sandra, go and pray for my country.
Thank you for your time. Lagos, that's the much we can take at this time. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. I have a message from Grandma Princess who says that the former Nigerian ambassador to the U.S. said it was better they just leave Trump to exit quietly instead of impeaching him, because by doing so this time, knowing the kind of man Trump is, one would say that hell hath no fury like a Trump impeached. I can ascertain this from his speech he made after his supporters stormed the seat of the United States government in Washington. He said to his supporters, now I'm quoting him, that this is just the beginning of their incredible journey. I think he means that he and his supporters can never be tired of fighting their opponents. Probably more incitements from him is yet to be expected. Grandma Princess, thank you for your message. Lagos, I'm back on Monday. Join me, why don't you? Monday, 3 p.m. Let's take a look at the biggest stories that will break this weekend. In the meantime, I'm Ezekwesili on social media, and I'd love to hear from you. So please get in touch on Twitter, on Instagram, Sandra Ezekwesili on Facebook. Those were your hard facts, Lagos. Good night.
Hard Facts with Sandra Ezekwesili is available as a podcast on all streaming platforms. Catch this and previous episodes anytime you want to.
And now,
subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.